The summer of 1939. A strange sense of calm hung over Europe. Millions believed the nightmare of the First World War was in the past. Families gathered, smiles were on faces, and cities were once again filled with the sounds of life. But it was a fragile facade. Beneath it, a monstrous ambition was quietly growing. The ambition of Adolf Hitler, who had restored Germany to a position of power, but through a path of blood and tears. Hitler never hid his intentions. Lebensraum, living space for the German people. He had already swallowed up Austria and occupied Czechoslovakia without facing any real resistance. Now, his gaze turned to Poland, a nation in a crucial geopolitical position. To avoid facing two potential enemies, Britain and France in the west and the Soviet Union in the east, Hitler made a bold and surprising move. In August 1939, the world watched in shock as Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union's sworn ideological enemies publicly shook hands. They signed the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, a seemingly harmless non-aggression treaty. But it was merely a cover for a terrible secret. A secret clause had been signed, dividing Poland into two spheres of influence, paving the way for Germany's upcoming attack. With a guarantee from the east, Hitler was ready to execute his plan. At 4:45 a.m. on September 1, 1939, a thunderous explosion shattered the peaceful night. The German battleship Schleswig-Holstein fired its guns on Westerplatte, a small Polish military outpost. It wasn't just a military strike, it was the opening shot of a total war. Minutes later, hundreds of German bombers roared into Polish airspace, raining bombs down on cities, airfields, and transport routes. Thousands of German tanks crossed the border, tearing through Polish defenses with terrifying speed. This was Blitzkrieg lightning war, based on the power of speed and the coordination of tanks and air power. The Polish army fought bravely, but they lacked modern weapons and technology. They were quickly overwhelmed, and the world watched in disbelief. Meanwhile, in London and Paris, leaders faced a difficult decision. Britain and France had signed a mutual defense treaty with Poland, promising to protect the nation if it was attacked. Would they keep their promise, or would they give in to Hitler once more? British Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain's policy of appeasement had completely failed. It was clear that Hitler would never be satisfied. After their ultimatum for Germany to withdraw was rejected, Britain and France were left with no other choice. On September 3, 1939, Britain officially declared war on Germany. France followed suit just hours later. The declaration could not save Poland from occupation, but it officially launched a global conflict. In that moment, the conflict was no longer about one nation. It became a war of ideologies, a war for the very survival of humanity. September 1, 1939, wasn't just the day Germany invaded Poland. It was the day the world awoke and faced a terrible reality, a reality in which the brutality of war would claim the lives of tens of millions, redraw the world map, and leave indelible scars on human history. September 1, 1939. The beginning of a war.